Hey, welcome. This is Alexander Creek, psychic medium and astrologer. Welcome to the Dark Star Oracle Report, where spirit and stars collide. We're going to be talking about the astrology of Jupiter in Leo. Jupiter being the greater benefic in astrology, it's going to be in Leo from June 30th, 2026 until July 27th, 2027. So we'll be talking about the collective astrology as well as what it might mean for your individual sign. If you are liking this podcast, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Maybe leave me a comment too, and let me know maybe what your sign is or what your big three is. And so let's go ahead and let's get talking about this energy. All right, well, what do I mean by greater benefic? The benefics in astrology are planets that generally kind of want to help you affirm, grow, expand, bring you nice things. And Jupiter is the bigger of the two, essentially. It moves slower, has kind of a more lasting, profound impact. It changes signs about once a year, right? And so Jupiter is going to kind of rule over things connected to growth, to expansion, to wisdom. It also, being the ruler of Pisces and Sagittarius, is connected to spirituality. It's connected to travel and faraway places, to education, expanding our horizons, and is also associated with liberation as well, like breaker of chains. It's also connected to things like law and the social fabric of society. So it is connected to like our moral systems, a philosophy of governance, things like that. We can often associate like our systems to Saturn, but Jupiter definitely has a role there as well. And Jupiter was in the sign of Cancer for about the past year, from I think June 10th, 2025, all the way up to the end of June 2026. And Jupiter is exalted in Cancer. It's sort of raised up, and it's able to, essentially really do its job well, and has a little extra oomph in that sign. However, Saturn was making a difficult aspect to the planet of limitation, to the planet of priorities and tests and lessons and kind of reality check, which is Saturn. And so Saturn was squaring Cancer from the sign of Aries. So sometimes I think people really kind of got their hopes up a lot with Jupiter in Cancer, but I feel like the effects of Jupiter in Cancer are some of the good things we're seeing more in the collective sometimes than in people's personal lives, right? So with Jupiter square Saturn, it's like kind of I think rained on Jupiter's parade a little bit, or made the part of your chart that contained Cancer, certainly maybe there were good things or blessings or expansion or even stability, but it maybe came with some difficulty, or there was tension in the Aries part of your chart. For me, Aries is my 6th house. Cancer is my 9th house of teaching, broadcasting, spirituality. I literally teach spirituality like for a living, and there's definitely like tension between those two parts of my chart. So, there was definitely like this feeling of like, oh, Jupiter and Cancer wasn't all it's cracked up to be, and now astrology is a lie. And I'm like, no, I think there's still blessings there, just a little harder to see. So under Jupiter and Cancer, one thing I thought was interesting. So Jupiter being exalted, it's going to be really doing Jupiter things. And in Cancer, it can be very protective and very defensive. In the United States, we saw the United States engaged in sort of uber protectionist kind of racist policies, deporting people. I mean, all the stuff with ICE is so awful. And I think that can be a shadow side of Cancer, of like protecting your borders, protecting from some threat that really isn't there. And at the same time, I think also definitely under Jupiter and Cancer, we saw the rise of more populist candidates. I think most notably in my mind, it's Zohran Mamdani, the mayor of New York City, won his primary and general election under this energy, and promising things like, hey, free bus, rent freeze, childcare, and has accomplished a lot in a very short amount of time. So I do feel like Jupiter in Cancer does speak to more of a populist movement, and we're seeing more candidates that represent those policies win elections in the United States. One of them being I forget how to pronounce her name. It's like Mira Kairos, and actually right here in Denver, Colorado, ousted a like 15-term, more kind of centrist opponent, and she's talking about like climate, like equal wages, things that should not be radical, but are are hard to actually kind of get across in America's political system currently. And I mentioned that because Jupiter does have to do with the social fabric of society, which is why I was talking about Jupiter in Cancer and seeing both of those things. And astrology itself is, I think, morally neutral. That's, so given that's why we have Jupiter in Cancer being exalted, resulting in these protectionist, racist policies, but also resulting too in um, candidates that represent the people more, because Cancer is ruled by the moon, which has to do with like the people in mundane astrology. So with Jupiter in Leo, we're no longer in a square to Saturn, which I think is very helpful. There's not like this tension, this difficulty of having to contend with very hard things with Jupiter being square Saturn. And it's not that we're not going to face difficulties, but just specifically with the astrology, it's like Jupiter is more free to do its thing, which is expand, affirm, and grow. There is some stuff with the South Node that we'll talk about, but I don't know. I'm not as concerned. I don't feel like it's as annoying as the Saturn square. So Jupiter in the sign of Leo, an energy I think that we're going to see in the collective that's, going to help, like that's going to grow in the collective. Leo is expression. It is play. It's joy. It is performance. It's like the spotlight. It is also opulence too, and like drama. And I just feel like that is going to be amplified kind of through the collective of like radiating joy, like performance, art, like really. And Leo is also, it rules over it's Leo's rules over the heart. It also rules over children as well. And I feel like, and having joining all these planets in these two other planets in fire signs, Saturn and Neptune, there is this emphasis on like passion, on putting your raw self out there. I think also one of the things that we'll be seeing more of, I feel like, or at least this is my take, if you want to stay ahead of the curve, I feel like putting your real self out there, not cloaking yourself in like artifice or like a fake image or this perfectly polished AI stuff, like because Neptune and Aries and Saturn and Aries are kind of giving this sort of raw and real kind of vibe. And I feel like Jupiter Leo joining the party is like imperfection is actually perfect. Like putting our true selves out there, I think will be more in vogue. Gritty analog vibe is kind of what I'm predicting for more of with this energy. Just because Leo's about self-expression, it can be about art or how you express yourself and identity. And I feel like Jupiter making a trine to Saturn and Neptune and Aries is like, I feel like a return to analog somewhat, or a return to an imperfect expression, I think is kind of the way forward, or I think might be a little bit more in vogue. Interestingly, Jupiter joins, or with Jupiter's entrance into Leo, there's something called Barbo's basket that is being very hyped in the astrology community right now, which is a astrological phenomenon by a French astrologer who I believe actually he's predicted pandemics, including COVID in 2020. But he saw Barbo's basket as a constructive astrology pattern, because all of these outer planets are going to be sextile and trine each other, or just kind of working together in these sort of harmonious way, because Jupiter will be trine Saturn and Neptune. It will be sextile Uranus in Gemini, and it will be opposing Pluto in Aquarius, which that is a more of a tense aspect, but it's still talking to all of these energies. And I believe that this astrologer saw this pattern as like something new and constructive, like after, a period of chaos, sort of like a dawning of some kind of new era and a new age. So Jupiter in Leo, I think, sparks this energy. I haven't done tons of research into Barbo's basket, but I know enough at least to like mention it. Maybe y'all could go research it on your own if you want. I thought it was an important point at least to mention as well. So there's just not that tension of being blocked by Saturn so much with Jupiter in Leo. So the Leo part of your chart is going to be really loud this year as well, because Jupiter's entrance into Leo is going to be followed by the nodes in Leo and Aquarius, as well as the eclipses in Leo. And we'll be covering that next month because we have a solar eclipse in Leo on August 12th. Jupiter is also going to be joined by the South Node. And the North and South Node are these mathematical points in astrology. They're not like planetary bodies, but they have a very real effect. The North and South Node have to do with increase and decrease. Some say it has to do with like fate and kind of where we're going and lessons that we need to learn. And I think that's all true, honestly. I do really look at the North Node and South Node as increase and decrease, though, as well. And the South Node will be in Leo, which has to do with decrease, and I think the South Node also has to do with kind of just like sort of general kind of spiritual lessons, like what we need to let go of, what we need to end. And it's sort of like we're going toward the North Node. It's not that we're completely abandoning the South Node. It's sort of having these sort of having a balance between these 2 points of North Node in Aquarius, South Node in Leo. On one hand, Leo does represent leaders, king, right? So the South Node going into Leo is, I think, bad news for authoritarians, including our current president, who is a Leo rising. So not great news for him, because that is sort of signaling a decrease in weakening in his vitality. But it's also because, like, South Node, like that to me is kind of talking about a fall from grace of certain leaders and authoritarian figures, of certain kind of regal kind of figures. And Aquarius kind of representing more like, do you hear the people sing kind of energy. Like, I do wonder if it's more power for local governments and local kinds of things, and like power to the collective action in people rather than a single central figure. And I think on a personal kind of vibe level, the South Node with Jupiter in Leo does feel, I think it's really kind of adding. That's where I'm kind of getting like, I see the South Node in Leo as sort of stripping away artifice of the chokehold of people with perfect bodies and perfect lives on their perfect social media, doing their perfect thing. I just feel like the illusion of that is going to shatter somewhat, or it's not going to have maybe as much of a hypnotic hold over people. And because the South Node, again, decrease, it's like a sucking kind of feeling. And I just feel like that could be about, like, if I'm putting on a fake smile, if my joy is performative, it's like stripping away the perfect filters, letting people see like the raw, real version of us, or like the raw, real kind of unfiltered version of us. I think, again, more in vogue. I think there's something that's going to be happening more of. It's sort of like, not that celebrity goes away. It's not going to go away under one transit, but I do feel like I just feel like a little bit of a pushback against like mega celebrity, or like, why do we idol worship so much? Like, why? And part of that will be because of Jupiter in Leo's opposition to Pluto, which is the first major aspect that it's going to make, like pretty much as soon as it goes into Leo. And as soon as it goes into Leo, which it is as of this recording, it's going to start opposing Pluto in Aquarius. And that aspect goes exact on July 20th. Although I feel like we'll be feeling it all month, especially in the second half of July. And Pluto represents many things, but one of the things it represents is power and resources. Like power in resources of like the wealthy few, like the 1%. I'm not talking about your like kind of posh neighbor down the street, like the 1%, like wealthy people will actually wielding the levers of power. Pluto also, represents like the dark underbelly of things, like our collective shadow, as well as Pluto going through the signs. Like the sign that Pluto is in tends to represent like the great collective foe that we are facing. Like in Aquarius's case, part of that is technology and AI. And I do not think that AI is completely evil. I do think it is a great technology that we need to regulate and check ourselves with, because it can also destroy the planet. You know, that's Pluto and Aquarius, is reckoning with possibly an authoritarian future, very technologically heavy future, kind of loss of privacy. I'm not saying those things are definitely happening, but those are kind of Aquarian themes when Pluto is in Aquarius. So that is sort of like the great crisis that we face with Pluto and Aquarius. And so with Jupiter in Leo heading to oppose Pluto, I do kind of get the feeling of, the first thing I was thinking was those displays of grandiose and opulence, and that's kind of icky. Like celebrity having a massive like party event sort of showcasing wealth and blah blah blah, and when people just can't afford healthcare, not finding jobs, food, that become more and more common. I feel like as a Jupiter Pluto thing, seeing maybe some kind of scandal connected to that, around that Jupiter Pluto opposition. That could also be power plays as well. So there might be stuff kind of going on behind the scenes with this aspect. Jupiter Pluto can also be obsessive or fanatical behavior, like when it shows up in your natal chart. It can also be righteousness, like, no, my way is the correct way for all of humanity. That kind of something, maybe someone giving a speech that's sort of connected to that. But I really saw this as like the haves and the have-nots, sort of displays of wealth and opulence versus like the people. So, I mean, how that just might be magnified a little bit more in the media around the date of that opposition. So that's something to watch out for. But other than that, let's talk about what Jupiter in Leo might be helping you grow or expand, or helping you bring in some kind of opportunity in your personal life. Enough about the collective. What about you personally? So let's talk about what that might mean for the different signs. And just a reminder, I don't have your personal chart in front of me, so I can only give you so much information. I do recommend that you listen for your rising sign, and the rising sign is going to give you more specific information. But also you can weave in your sun or moon if you want, to give you more of a complete picture. I would also recommend, or not recommend, but well, yeah, I would recommend, if you want to work with me one-on-one, my website is darkstaroracle.com. I do astrology professionally as well as psychic medium readings. And yeah, so let's get going with these little check-ins. And by the way, we will start with the sign of Aries and go in order. If you can definitely just click on the chapter on YouTube or click on the timestamp, and it will take you to the correct sign. If you're listening on the audio version, you can go to the timestamps and just kind of fast forward to the correct sign. So here we go. Okay, let's click over to Aries. So, okay, Aries rising. We have Jupiter moving into your fifth house. So, fifth house is connected to creativity, children, your hobbies and passions, games, romance, sexuality. I think Jupiter in Leo is like, hi, we're going to have some fun now, like, or no matter what is going on, there's an opportunity for fun or to create something. So Jupiter in Leo could definitely be sparking your creativity, or be sparking passion for you. I mean, if you've been single for a long time and you're feeling like, I think it's time that I like put myself out there a little bit, Jupiter in Leo is like a great time to like dust off your dating profile. Or even like do things that make you happy and feel good about yourself, even if it's like, especially if it's like not for someone else, it's like just for you. So like creating things just for you, reigniting some sort of passion. Um, this is also a very real pregnancy transit for some people as well. So if that is you, either wrap it up, or a good time to start trying if you are thinking about like you want to become a parent or get pregnant. Fifth house does have to do with pregnancy. So it can certainly be that for some people. This is a good time to give birth to, or to sort of like, you might become pregnant, quote unquote, with some creative project also. doesn't have to be some sort of artistic, great painting or great novel. Like when I say creativity, people are like, I'm not creative. And I'm like, okay, me making 3 quiches in my kitchen last night was an expression of my creativity. Like I actually did that last night. So to give to people, like that's a fifth house activity, is making something, or anything that you make or create is a fifth house thing. So I feel like bringing some sort of spark of passion into your life. And again, also the South Node moving through your fifth house is like, if we're talking about romance or dating or something, this could be like, hi, I'm not going to maybe deal with the same fuckboys that I usually attract. Like, we're going to choose a new pattern, or we're going to release blocks around creativity. This is like an artist's way transit. And if you never read the artist's way and you want to get in touch with your creative process, this would be a great time to do that. It gets you kind of in touch with your inner child and your self-critic and all of that stuff. So hobbies, creativity, creative projects, dating, romance, and really getting in touch with the authentic creative version of you, not the person that's keeping up with trends or the algorithm. It's like really creating from your heart with Leo rising. And possibly more things connected to children, or more opportunities connected to children in pregnancy as well. Taurus rising, Jupiter in Leo for you. It's definitely going to be connected to home and family to some degree, your home base, your private life, as well as connecting to ancestors, your roots, where you came from, tradition, your living space. So Jupiter moving through here can indicate, and this is over a year. This is like a year-long transit. This can indicate expansion and growth connected to your home. This can be a home renovation, a home redecoration, a move. This could be, purchasing your first home if, there are other conditions that are right in the chart and, right in your financial life, of course. This can also, and this can also be like just my family growing. Jupiter can represent protection. So there can be, some sort of opportunity or some sort of, hidden blessing connected to your family as well. This can also be like, if you want to connect to ancestors or ancestor veneration, Jupiter entering this part of your chart. I think especially when Mercury finally gets here too, in forget how long, in a few weeks. That might be a good time to start giving offerings or connecting more to your ancestors, because if Jupiter is represent expansion, growth, and wisdom, then that can also be coming from your spiritual team, because the 4th house is also like your dead folk, your passed on grandparents and ancestors. So that could be something. As well. But oftentimes it could be like my family growing, or making my home base more comfortable, making my foundation more comfortable. At the same time, we have the South Node here as well. So there is a release about something, or some kind of like letting go of some kind. So it could be like we're outgrowing our old home. We have to move and we're really sad about it, but like excited about the possibility. Like that's a very real possibility with this energy of like, oh, the kids are going off to college. I'm sad, but now I have more time to focus on other things connected to my family or connected to my home. So there is some loss in order to be gained with this energy. Gemini rising. Jupiter will be entering the 3rd house for you. So 3rd house is anything connected to communications, the mind, and Jupiter is just more an expansion and just more of that. So, but it can also, I think Jupiter is also about understanding, like spiritual understanding, and like seeing like the bigger picture. So this could be really supportive of like really learning something new, of enrolling in some sort of new study or some sort of new program. Any kind of communications project of any sort, from a blog to podcasting, you name it, something, or just like things that kind of involve you more in your local community, in the city where you where you live, into sort of like more local, like third spaces, connecting more to siblings, to neighbors. Or this could be opportunities coming to you from people in your close inner circle, again, from extended family, from your best friends, from your kind of tight-knit circle around you. I do see that as the 3rd house kind of experience. This could also be talking about more travel, not necessarily to like distant lands, but like to like another city, or just kind of expanding your horizons and how you kind of get around and move around in your life. 3rd house is also like your modes of transportation. So for some of you, this could be like a new car, or some kind of new vehicle. It could be like a bicycle or something like that. But it's like expanding in a big way the smaller things around you, essentially. And definitely don't discount the communication, the mind. You also could see just like other people in your close-knit circle. Again, siblings is a third house thing, extended family, best friends. Like this could be like being very involved in like my best friend's wedding too. Sometimes astrology is about like what's happening to other people. So that could also be happening for you at the same time. Again, with the South Node here, perhaps we are saying less is more, like learning to really kind of speak truth and speak what's on our heart and not dance around it and fill it with tons of language and words, right? This could also be maybe some sort of ending in your local environment in your city, or maybe you're changing the environment like in which you live. Again, South Node, I think there's something lost to be something gained here. So that would be connected to those topics as well. But I kind of feel like it's like saying less is more. Cancer rising, we have Jupiter going into your second house, which is your money and your resources. It's the physical things and not just physical things. It's the things in your life that help support your life, essentially. So oftentimes it is your money. So Jupiter moving through the second house, it's not necessarily that like, oh, you're just going to get more money with Jupiter moving through this house. Jupiter will kind of meet you where you are at. So this could be like, I'm going to invest time and money maybe to learning a new skill that will ultimately help me in my career and how I can monetize it and make more money. It is trining, like it'll be trine Saturn, a harmonious aspect to Saturn, the planet of, hard lessons and, kind of serious adult energy that's currently making its way through your 10th house of career and public image. So these two working together, I do feel like there could be a new opportunity with career for you coming in over this next year. And frankly, maybe new opportunities for some sort of new income stream, improving an income stream with the South Node moving through your second house. We might be looking at like, hey, I might need to not spend money on certain things anymore that I'm really finding unfulfilling or that I'm outgrowing, or that I'm leaving one income source in order to gain another too. Or feeling like, hey, just spending money spending money on things isn't giving me like the same joy that it once did. Like there is some sort of spiritual lesson involving money and resources for you. There is a feeling of maybe collaborating with other people, relying on things involving trust and intimacy in other people's resources coming in for you as well, because the North Node will be moving into your 8th house of like other people's money and resources. So there's an interesting storyline with money and resources for you. And given that Jupiter just left your first house of self and identity and persona, the way you approach life, I think you maybe learned a lot with Jupiter in Cancer, but now it's sort of take sort of what you learned and like turn that into something that can really support you financially, financially, materially in this life. And I feel like you're going to do that with Jupiter moving through Leo over the next year. Leo rising, you're going to be very busy this year. So Leo rising, Jupiter has left your 12th house of mental health, spiritual understanding, rest, retreat, and isolation. Not an easy place for Jupiter to be, by the way. And it's moving into your very prominent first house of self, identity, persona, what arises from you and your own efforts. So Jupiter in Leo, I think, is going to magnify you. Like it is going to magnify, increase, grow, and expand you. On one hand, Jupiter moving through your sign can signal like growth, travel, just more opportunities for sort of self-expansion and saying yes to something. I feel like I feel like you're very much stepping into a new era. And Jupiter going through your sign can mean like increased opportunities. Jupiter initially going through your first house, you might be having some sort of power struggle or power dynamics, sort of something come up, because Jupiter will be opposing Pluto in your 7th house of partnership. But I see Jupiter moving through your sign as like part of some bigger changes in store for you. We're going to have a solar eclipse coming up on August 12th as well. That says that you're ready, like there's some sort of new beginning connected to your identity, to your physical body, like you're stepping into some sort of new era. With the South Node moving through your first house, though, it's like I really would heed the lesson of pride, I think. Because Jupiter in Leo, and Leo it can be kind of known for like pride, you know, and the South Node can be a little humbling. So there's some sort of spiritual lesson about like letting go of what you need to let go of, whether these are personal beliefs or some self tendencies or patterns or something. You're working through something, or you're going to be letting go of things um, over the next 18 months that the nodes are moving through Leo and Aquarius. So again, with the South Node in Leo, there is something, we're losing something to gain something greater. And I feel like Jupiter is like going to help us like very much like literally expand and grow and have opportunities. But at the same time, we don't want to miss the big picture of understanding that more is not always better, essentially, because there's a lesson with Jupiter in excess and just more for more's sake. So there is, I feel like, a feeling of some humility with this energy. So I feel like if you kind of heed that, then you'll be ready for, I think, what is about to come your way. But big growth, big new things coming in, big new chapters coming in for you and your relationships over the next 18 months or so. And I say 18 months because of the North and South Node as well. So, but Jupiter's going to help you with your confidence too. Like if you're not feeling confident right now, Jupiter in Leo is going to be like, yeah, bitch, you got it. You're that diva. Virgo rising, Jupiter is going to be moving through your 12th house. The 12th house has to do with themes of spiritual understanding, mental health, health in general, because sometimes be like long-term health things, as well as rest, retreat, isolation, like really private, hidden things. Also your shadow, like things that might be tripping you up without even you realizing it, essentially, or other forces in your life that are maybe working against you without you realizing it. These are some of the themes of the 12th house. So Jupiter here is not like an obvious Jupiter moving through this part of your chart isn't like obviously like, oh, yay, money, or oh, yay, sex. Like 12th house energy feel like it's more illuminating your shadow, not even illuminating, but just helping you understand your shadow, helping you understand hidden motivations or backgrounds or patterns of beliefs that are playing in your mind. And you're like, why do I keep getting this same result over and over again? I thought I healed this. Jupiter moving through your 12th house, I just feel like can help you become more aware of mental health, spiritual health, or even long-term health things. I do feel 12th house is also a feeling of going away. Sometimes I think Jupiter going through the 12th house, we can be going, overseas. I think it can have to do with sort of extended periods of time traveling. But the feeling is, but it's sort of like eat, pray, love moment where we're like kind of finding ourselves. Like there's something with that, like finding our soul again or finding our spirit again. So there's something with like a spiritual understanding, a spiritual healing with Jupiter moving through the 12th house. So it's going to be a really good time for just like therapy, all forms of healing. I think would be really interesting with Jupiter moving through your 12th house, really focusing on your inner self and your spirit. I think can be really useful manifestations of this energy. Sometimes Jupiter through the 12th too is like a hidden blessing, the feeling of a guardian angel on your side. I would also say this is a good energy for like increasing meditation, getting in touch with your inner self, as well as I do want to mention the South Node here too, because the South Node is going to be moving through Leo as well. And so that's why there is this feeling of like release of ending things. And if 12th house is like our fears or things that kind of keep us stuck or how we can kind of trip ourselves up sometimes, with the South Node there, we're clearing some things away. And then it's almost like we're bringing in like a new sense of understanding or bringing in a new sense of healing something again. Like we're South Node release endings, things that are bad for us over time. The North Node is moving through your 6th house as well, which is like physical health, which is work. So there is like a feeling of like work-life balance important, or like I think an emphasis on spiritual, mental, and physical health with this energy. But Jupiter, I feel like, is going to help us understand like why do things manifest the way they do with us? understanding our own psychology and motivation, and is really, really excellent, I think, for spiritual healing and wisdom. So you have a more internal journey with Jupiter in Leo, as well as I do think it can be about travel also. But again, extended periods of time overseas, I think, can be one of those 12th house significations. Libra rising, Jupiter is moving through your 11th house. So I see maybe your social circles starting to change. The 11th house is like wider communities, people that you have things in common with, formal group affiliations, clubs, things like that. Your social circle, your kind of wider social circle, as well as your goals, hopes, and wishes for the future. And so Jupiter's moving through here. So that's like, yes, opportunities that come through friends, opportunities that come through social groups and networking, um, finding kinship with people that, that hey, like if you're a budding astrologer, going to your first astrology conference, like meeting people, like really feeling supported by kind of wider community spaces, sometimes online spaces, having these sort of ideals and things that are aligned and in common with them, and getting fed by that. That's Jupiter. And that's the spiritual understanding and the opportunities and the benefits that can come with that. At the same time, the South Node is there. And this is a good transit to that you might be, frankly, just kind of clearing maybe some of the fake bitches out of your friend circle, frankly. South Node is endings and letting go of something, of release. And I do wonder if that is sort of clearing out social circle, clearing out friendships that have been outdated. And I do feel like in our culture, we are too quick to just be like, bye, you aren't in my life anymore. We're done. But it could at least signal that, hey, some of them might be outdated, or it's time to work on them, or kind of tend to your garden with 11th house things, friends, wider community members, clubs and other organizations that you're a part of. Like, we're tending or weeding the garden with that. It comes to goals and hopes, wishes for the future, which is an 11th house thing as well. It could be like time to focus on maybe like a new goal, or refresh what your goals look like, or focus on like a new aspiration, and maybe realize it's like time to upgrade, or we didn't think big enough, or that our values have changed and we wanting to sort of manifest something else. So that's what I see with the Leo part of your chart for Libra rising. Scorpio rising, we have Jupiter moving into your 10th house. This is a loud one for you. So the 10th house is public image, public reputation, your career goals, authority figures in your life. And I think prepare for more visibility. I'd prepare for more visibility and to be seen more. Like if that's, if you're on social media or something like that, if you're not putting anything out there to be more publicly known, then you probably won't be. But Jupiter will help you with, Jupiter's about, growth and expansion. And this could be expanding into something new in your career. You working with people in a new way. Again, Jupiter is in a very visible part of your chart. Sometimes Scorpio rising has an issue with being visible. You have a really loudly visible 10th house, but at the same time, you're Scorpio rising, so you like to be private. So I do feel like there's opportunity, there's growth coming to career for you, or being more seen more visibly in a very public way, getting more popular somehow, or just more, or infamous also could be also part of that as well. At the same time, we have the South Node here too. So this could be part of your career changing, or like letting part of it go, or something regarding your public image kind of shifting or ending, and then bringing in something new. And again, this Jupiter in Leo transit, I think, is going to be extra loud because we have eclipses. They're going to be associated with it as well. We have an eclipse in August. So there's something happening in your career space, in your public visibility space, that is getting a shakeup. And it's like we've spent the Jupiter in Cancer transit gaining more spiritual understanding, maybe educating ourselves more, maybe getting more perspective, something with healing and teaching. And then when we come to Jupiter in Leo, it's like time to do the damn thing. Like, I really see this as growth and expansion in a very public, possibly career-focused way for you. And so that is going to be going on over the next year. But I would say if you are wanting to grow in your career, but you're having issues with like feeling visible, especially on social media or something like that, work on the shadow part of you or the part of you that's feeling shy or that feels like scared or vulnerable. Because I can see your image just getting bigger. So I also see new things connected to home for you as well as connected to this energy, but that's more connected to the solar eclipses in Aquarius as well as the northern Aquarius. So yeah, new things for career for Scorpio. No worries, Scorpio. Sagittarius rising. We have Jupiter moving. So first of all, Sagittarius, Jupiter's a ruling planet, so its movements are always going to be important. So, like I was saying, Sagittarius rising, Jupiter's your ruling planet, rules your chart. So Jupiter's movements are always, I think, maybe even a little bit more important for you. Jupiter is moving into your 9th house, which has like a Sagittarius kind of flavor, actually. So Jupiter has spent a lot of time in your 8th house over this past year from June 2025 until the end of June 2026. The 8th house being other people's money and resources, mental health things, sometimes private hidden things. And going into your 9th house, it's like, okay, now it's time to see the world. This could definitely bring in sort of a travel, like long distance travel, foreign travel, pursuing more of a greater education, anything connected to higher education and spirituality, seeking, universal understanding. This is also like, I'm going to find my inner peace kind of transit too. This could, anything connecting to broadcasting and media can be governed by the 9th house as well. So if you're like, I want to start a podcast or I want to like start something where I'm broadcasting my message to people, this can be a good time to do that. This can be about like, I'm going to publish my book, or really work on reaching people. And again, Leo, I think, has this kind of creative energy. It's like putting our true self out there, our self-expression. Something about your beliefs could be changing, or how you see the world, or something in those 9th house themes I talked about could be shifting, because the South Node will be moving through that as well. So it's like we might be releasing one belief of how we see the world that we've always held on to, and we're like, that really holds no longer true for me. Like, I had these strong religious beliefs and I'm not really vibing with that anymore. It's being replaced by something greater, more inclusive, something that's about more understanding. So that could be about your beliefs, about your philosophy, or that like, oh, like my path to my doctorate is changing. I really no longer want that. I kind of want something else. Again, connected to education. We have some eclipses coming in August. So there's going to bring some beginning or sometimes an ending to that part of your chart too. So that's really going to wake up when we get to August. But there's just this kind of expanding kind of flavor to your worldview, to your beliefs, travel, education. But again, there's something about releasing something that's no longer serving connected to those things too. Capricorn rising, Jupiter is it'll be moving through your 8th house over the next year. So it's been in your 7th house of partnership, one-on-one relationships over the past year from June 2025 to June 2026. I gotta put my glasses on. It's starting to hurt. Okay. And it has moved into the 8th house. And the 8th house is sort of like when a relationship kind of evolves and you get to know each other better and you kind of start to understand each other's private stuff that we carry around. Like the really intimate, messy parts of relationship, I think, is 8th house, as well as how we share our resources and money with each other. So on a mundane, practical level, Jupiter moving through your 8th house can be about access to credit, about taking on debt, because not all debt is bad. Sometimes debt is a tool, right? So applying for a loan, a grant, seeking like patronage, like when an artist gets patrons, people who financially support them to do their art. That is an 8th house thing. 8th house is clients' money if you're like freelance, right? This could also be 8th house, I think, also can be like deep therapy, like deep mental health stuff. I think also occult things can go here too. Like the psychic arts, because death is an 8th house topic. So like if you're like, I want to study mediumship, well, bitch, Jupiter's going through your 8th house, you'll be talking to the dead, right? But sometimes this is like getting resources from places that are unconventional, like this is like, oh, I qualify for some grant and I got a bunch of money for my business based on need or something like that. This is also could be like you kind of getting deeper with a partner, like living together, sharing each other's resources, relying on each other a little bit more. Capricorn being a very kind of self-reliant kind of energy that can be challenging to just like trust, and be vulnerable. But I think that's what Jupiter will be asking you to do somewhat. And the South Node is going to be moving through your 8th house too. So any outdated beliefs on collaboration, on sharing resources, on depending on someone, I think you might be like shedding or letting go of some of that as well. There could be new things involving money or relying on someone or intimacy coming your way as well following that solar eclipse in August. We are going to have some new things connected to the Leo part of your chart. New things, I think, connected to money and resources overall for you because the North Node will be moving through your 2nd house as well, like increase connected to your earned income and money and resources and changes there. So I just feel like maybe you're making money in a new way, or there's some sort of source of income or that intimacy, trust, finances. Definitely, there's some shift coming with that for you, Capricorn rising. Aquarius rising. Jupiter will be moving through your 7th house of partnership. So there's opportunities. Oops, my watch started talking to me. There's opportunities, benefits through collaboration, through partnership, whether that is a romantic partnership, whether that is a business partnership or a platonic relationship. There's some sort of joy or beneficial energy when it comes to merging with another, essentially. Not merging with another, but partnering with another. This could also be like a helpful mentor or teacher comes into your life as well, because Jupiter is like helpful people or people who have knowledge to share or people who are generous. So that can be definitely be kind of showing up in your life as well as someone else. And for those of you who are single, who are wanting to be in a relationship, this can be a transit where some new partnership may be on the way for you, especially beginning with that solar eclipse in Leo coming in August. Thing is that you're going to be releasing ideas or beliefs about what it means to be in a partnership, or maybe some of you are going to be releasing old partnerships and relationships that are not serving you because of the South Node moving to that part of your chart. There is something that we're shifting, that we're ending in order to gain something with that South Node energy. For some of you, maybe it does feel like there's like a fated meeting of some kind. I do kind of wonder that too, if there's going to be souls that we have connections or relationships with in order to sort of learn some sort of lesson or, complete out some sort of karmic cycle. I do wonder if that's coming for some of you as well. Jupiter will be opposing Pluto right when it goes into Leo in July 2027. There is maybe some kind of power dynamic, something with relationships for you, or maybe feeling one of you isn't on completely equal ground. Maybe one person makes like way more money than the other person, or maybe like there's just some sort of power imbalance or something happening with that that's very possible for that first month, but that aspect passes pretty quick. But you have a lot of lessons and growth and expansion, I think, coming in relationships over this next year. Pisces, your ruling planet, so your traditional ruling planet is Jupiter as well. Modern ruling planet, which I don't use, is Neptune. Traditional ruling planet is Jupiter. Even if you use Neptune as the ruling planet of Pisces, you still want to consider Jupiter. I think it's important. And Jupiter is moving into your 6th house of your labor, your work, your physical health, also pets as well. This could be time in which you are shifting, like you are getting a new job, you are increasing the benefits and responsibilities at your current job, that your workload increases, like if you're freelance. This could be like, some sort of beneficial change in work environment. Perhaps this is time that you're self-employed and your business is getting bigger, so you hire someone. Because 6th house is people that work for you, like your employees or your coworkers. So there might be something connected to that over this next year. 6th house is also health. So like health habits, the ways you take care of yourself, illness. So Jupiter moving through here can be like, okay, especially because the South Node is going to be moving through your 6th house. So we're letting go of something in order to gain something. So we're maybe letting go of smoking or some kind of bad habit or some sort of chronic health thing that we know is fucking bad for us. So stop it. And because Jupiter can be the growth of something, can be growth. And so that can be a literal health issue if we are if we are ignoring the South Node and the warning signs and Jupiter gets there, that could be like, hey, guess what? That thing is worse now. So with the South Node, take heed of your body and listen to what it needs. Ejecting bad health habits, cleaning up health, or also like leaving a job that you like in order for another opportunity that you might love is on the agenda as well. Like having to leave something work related or end something work related so we can have something else connected to work is possible here too. Like for me, like I had a second job and I was self-employed doing this, doing readings and teaching and stuff. And I still liked my second job, but I was like, I can't continue. Like I have to just dedicate myself to full time. That's kind of what I'm seeing here is there's growth and expansion and opportunity, but we have to let go of something. This could also be, frankly, your animals and pets too. Sixth house I've seen many times as being about animals. So it's like, I don't know, maybe you're getting a new kitty or something, but there could be something new pet related for you. So there could be something new, like I think there could be something new related to animals and pets here, but your work and health, I think, are these two very important aspects of this transit. And that's where I see a lot of the action. And there's something new connected to that around the solar eclipse on August 12th as well. So thanks for joining me again. I hope this was helpful for you. Thanks for listening to the Dark Star Oracle Report. If you're watching on YouTube, it's also on Spotify and Apple and anywhere you listen to your audio podcast or the same name. If you listen to the audio, I'm on YouTube. And again, you can work with me one-on-one, darkstaroracle.com. I am teaching psychic development classes right now. They're going to be starting this week, July 8th. The live classes, however, don't start till next week. This week is a pre-recorded class, so you still have time to join if you want to. Keep your ear to the ground if you're interested in studying astrology with me. I'll be teaching classes very soon, or making an announcement about classes pretty soon as well. So otherwise, you can work with me one-on-one for a psychic medium reading or an astrology reading. I hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching and thanks for sticking with me. Happy Jupiter in Leo, everybody. Peace out.